From Storm Tracker 6, this is Forecast First, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
A very breezy day for us here in mid-Michigan. We've seen winds gusting as high as 39 miles per hour in Lansing, 37 in Jackson, and 31 miles per hour, the peak wind gust thus far over in Charlotte. Temperature-wise, definitely chilly outside this evening. We're at 10 degrees in Lansing, 12 for our current temperature in Jackson and Mason, with most of our wind chill temperatures falling below zero. It is cool enough for just a couple of lake effect snow flurries to still make their way into mid-Michigan this evening, but this activity wraps up tonight, but these cooler temperatures remain in place. 6 News at 5:30 starts right now.
WLNS is here for you with 6 News at 5:30.
Well, thank you for joining us this evening, everyone. I'm Siobhan Klepfer. We start the clock in our first 6 minutes of news with a woman from Pontiac who is behind bars tonight. She's accused of abandoning her 3 children for years. Oakland County deputies responded to a call from a landlord on Friday and found 3 kids, a 15-year-old boy and 12 and 13-year-old girls, living in filthy, unsanitary conditions. Deputies described mold and human waste throughout the home. The children told deputies their mom left about 4 or 5 years ago, but had been dropping off food.
It reminds me of the commercials you see where animals are living in very deplorable conditions. Well, kind of take that times 10. And that's what the kids were living in for years.
The children were not in school, and neighbors say they did not know the kids were living in the home. The sheriff says there's going to be an investigation into how the kids fell through so many cracks in the system. Michigan State Police are asking for help tonight as they investigate a deadly crash from over the weekend. It happened on Saturday in Rome Township in Lenawee County. Officials say a Hillsdale County man was killed in that single vehicle crash Saturday when the 34-year-old went off the road and hit a tree. A 27-year-old passenger survived the crash. She was taken to a hospital for treatment. Both are from Waldron. State Police want anyone with information on this crash to contact them. Well, take a look at this. This is the aftermath of a water main break in a Detroit neighborhood overnight. One person had to be rescued from a car stuck in the resulting flood. This happened around 3:30 this morning. Workers have been cleaning up the icy flood while working on the broken pipe, as well as helping people out of their homes. The break is affecting hundreds of people in this area who woke up to standing water inside their homes. Across the lake in Chicago, a woman is recovering after driving off a road and into Lake Michigan. This happened on Saturday. The 26-year-old woman was able to get out of the car and get to shore. She was taken to a hospital and is listed in good condition. The car remained in the water through Saturday night, partially submerged under lake ice. Police say the woman will be given traffic citations. In California, the state's Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, they rescued a teenager from a vertical mine shaft. The 16-year-old and his friends were exploring the mine last week and climbed about 50 feet down a vertical shaft. On the way back up, their household rope snapped and the boy fell about 30 feet. He tried to climb out, but could not make it past a ledge where he was stuck. After being rescued, the teenager was taken to a hospital. His condition was not announced. In Texas, officials have confirmed 48 cases of measles, and the CDC is reporting cases in 5 other states as well. On CBS Mornings, medical contributor Dr. Celine Gounder stressed how important it is to get vaccinated and noted symptoms people need to be on the lookout for after exposure. They include high fever, cough, runny nose, along with red and watery eyes. And then about 2 to 3 days after symptoms start, little white spots can form inside the mouth and patients might develop a rash.
When you do not get the vaccine, that is when you have the risk of hospitalization and death. And in this particular outbreak, we've already seen 3 people hospitalized out of 48. That's over almost 30%.
Recent polling shows about 17% of parents have skipped or delayed a vaccine dose, and that is up from about 10% just 2 years ago. Dr. Gounder says we're seeing a lot of exemptions and concerns about vaccinations that are not warranted. Looking at news around the world now, at least 15 people are suffering injuries tonight after a Delta Airlines plane crashed at Toronto Pearson International Airport this afternoon. Officials say 1 child and 2 adults are critically injured. The plane had just arrived from Minnesota and could be seen upside down on the ground. The FAA says all 80 people aboard the plane were evacuated and that the Transportation Safety Board of Canada will lead the investigation. No word yet on exactly what happened, but the crash did happen during blowing snow and strong wind gusts in the region. Rwanda-backed rebels are now in control of a second major city in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The group of rebels, known as M23, say they're in the city of 1.3 million people to keep order after it was abandoned by Congolese forces. There are more than 100 armed groups vying for control of eastern Congo's trillions of dollars in mineral wealth that's critical for much of the world's technology. Today in Paris, leaders of the European nations, they are holding an emergency meeting on how to react to the Trump administration's handling of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. President Donald Trump is planning to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday to discuss ending the war, but there is concern tonight that European allies and Ukrainian officials might not be that involved in the talks. South Korean authorities are banning the sale of DeepSeek, a Chinese artificial intelligence program, in the country's app stores. Officials say they're concerned about how the developer handles user data. Here in the United States, lawmakers from both parties are pushing to ban DeepSeek on federal devices. Well, speaking of apps, the government of Mexico is now waiting for a response from Google over demands to restore the name Gulf of Mexico to its Maps service. Since President Trump declared he was renaming the body of water to Gulf of America, Google updated the map to use that name for American users. The U.S. only has jurisdiction over around 46% of the Gulf. The rest is controlled by Mexico, which controls 49%, and Cuba, which controls around 5%. Well, back here in the U.S., New York City's Chinatown held its 27th annual Lunar New Year parade on Sunday. Thousands of people came out despite the heavy rain. Performers celebrated the Year of the Snake with traditional loin and dragon dances, music, firecrackers, and more. And also in New York, 2 dolphins could be seen swimming in the East River over the weekend. While common dolphins do live near the Upper East Coast, it's rare to see them in the river. It has happened before, but wildlife experts are not sure why they occasionally, if rarely, journey up the river. What a sight to see, Kendall.
I was just going to say, despite the reason, I would be thrilled to see dolphins there.
Same.
Not thrilled to see the temperatures in our forecast, Siobhan, though.
It's just, it's painful, Kendall.
Yeah, the good news is once we get past tomorrow, though, we will start to see some improvement, so relief is on the way.
Okay.